My family ignored my welding goals for years because I refused to skip my certification exam for my golden brother. My mother called me selfish. I left and never returned. When I was 16, I believed my family was simply loud and emotional. Not broken, just messy. But by 24, I understood that some families do not hurt you by accident. They do it on purpose. My name is Ethan, and last month I passed my welding certification. It took 7 years of part-time jobs, long nights, and early mornings at community college to reach that point. 7 years of breathing in metal fumes and holding flashcards until my hands were too tired to lift a cup of coffee. And the night before my exam, the most important day of my life, my mother walked into the kitchen and said, "Your brother needs help moving his couch." I wish that were a joke. I didn't grow up thinking I was invisible. It happened slowly, like water leaking under a floor. My older brother Liam was always the favorite. His name was painted on the wall above his bed with a football and 2 stars. I shared a small room with peeling wallpaper and a squeaky bunk bed. Liam was 4 years older and always treated like he was ahead. My parents threw him a backyard party after high school. When I made the dean's list in college, my mom said, "That's nice, honey. Can you take the trash out?" Liam drifted between jobs, gym desk, real estate, cryptocurrency, and then running up my dad's credit card. I worked weekends at a scrapyard and studied during breaks because welding and sleep didn't come easily. I wasn't naturally gifted. I was disciplined. But in my house, Liam could do nothing wrong. I could be bleeding from my hands and still be told I was the problem. My grandmother was the only one who noticed me. She called me Maze the Maker because I always built things. But she died when I was 17, and after that I became the extra child, the helper, the runner, the one whose goals didn't count. Last year, Liam moved into a nice apartment with his girlfriend. When that failed, he needed a cheaper place. That place had a heavy couch and stairs. He waited until the night before my exam to ask for help. I was studying when he walked in like he still lived there. "Yo, Maze," he said, tossing socks at me. "Tomorrow morning. The couch is brutal." I said, "Tomorrow is my welding test." He paused. "Oh, right, you're still doing that." My mom was in the kitchen pretending not to listen. I told them I had to be there at 8 a.m. This exam couldn't be moved. Liam said, "It's just one morning." Then my mom said calmly, "Your brother is trying to build a real life. You could skip it." I laughed because it sounded unreal. I said I couldn't reschedule. I had already paid and waited 7 months. She snapped, "So you're saying no?" I said, "I'm saying I can't." That's when she lost control. She said Liam was building something and that I was playing with metal toys. She asked if welding was even a real job. For once, I didn't apologize. I took my notes and went to my room. My dad stayed silent, like always. That night, I packed my gear and left quietly. I slept in my car. The next morning, I passed my exam. I thought they would ignore me. Instead, they got angry. I didn't tell them I passed. I stayed with my friend Ryan. Nobody from home reached out. The only message came from Liam, "Didn't think you'd actually flake." Then my mom texted, "You've made your point. Stop punishing your family." Then my aunt called and said my mom told everyone I ran away and cursed her out. That was a lie. That's when I realized they were rewriting the story to make me look unstable, and Liam looked like the victim. Later, Liam posted a photo online thanking people for helping him move. My mom praised him. That was the moment I stopped hoping they would ever understand. I found a welding job. It was hard work, but it was real. Still, my family gave me nothing but quiet and guilt messages. Then my dad called. Liam had lost his job. They wanted him to move back home, and they wanted me to come back too, to help pay bills. They wanted me to support Liam again. I said no and left. Then came the letter. My parents gave Liam my room and told me to get my belongings or lose them. They didn't even pretend it was temporary. That was when I realized how easily they erased me. I stayed quiet for days until a TV host said, "Know your worth." I said, "Unless your family teaches you, it's nothing." Ryan turned off the TV. "Tell me what happened." And I did. I told him everything. The argument before the exam, the silence afterward, the guilt messages, the Facebook post, the dinner with my father, and finally the letter. He didn't speak right away. He just looked at me for a long moment. Then he said something I will never forget. "Maze, they're not your family anymore. They're your origin story." It hit me hard because he was right. I had spent years thinking I was the broken piece, trying to fit into a space that was never meant for me. But maybe the goal was never to fit. Maybe the goal was to build my own table. The next morning, I asked my foreman for extra shifts. I told him I needed more hours. He looked at me and said, "You sure? You won't sleep for a month." I said yes. That month, I worked more than ever, early mornings, late nights, and weekends. I took every shift no one wanted. I welded through blisters, skipped meals, and buried myself in the work as if I were pushing the pain out of my body. Slowly, it helped. The noise in my head faded, the tightness in my chest eased. I was still angry and hurt, but I was moving forward. About 5 weeks in, something unexpected happened. I was given more responsibility. Not an official promotion, no raise yet, but the foreman started pairing me with newer workers. He had me check their welds, adjust their arcs, and give feedback. Later, he told me, "You've got patience, Ethan, and a good eye. That's rare." I didn't know how to reply, so I nodded. That week, I bought new gear, better gloves, a fresh helmet, and custom earplugs. It felt like a big purchase, but for once, I felt valued. Then I got my own place. It was a small studio, about the size of a garage, but it had heat, good water pressure, and a window that looked out over a scrapyard where the morning sun hit the metal just right. The landlord was relaxed and let me rent month to month. On move-in day, I stood there with just a mattress and a folding table and felt calm. It wasn't much, but it was mine. I didn't tell anyone. I just kept building my life quietly, one step at a time. There were still hard moments. One night I saw my mom at a gas station. She didn't notice me or pretended not to. For a second, I wanted to walk over and ask why. But I didn't. I let her leave. I had learned that closure doesn't always come from someone else. Sometimes you give it to yourself. Ryan came by with a housewarming gift, a beat-up microwave and a fake plant. We ate frozen burritos on the floor. That's when I told him my idea, starting my own mobile welding business. He smiled and said, "Maze the Maker is back." I began researching permits, trucks, and tools. Money was tight, but I saved slowly. Then Liam called. He said things were weird, that Mom overreacted, and that he didn't mean for me to lose my room. I asked if he signed the letter. He admitted he did. I told him Mom lied, and he stayed quiet. He said he had a new job and wanted to fix things. I didn't respond. He said he missed having a brother. But I didn't give in. I hung up. I didn't feel angry. I felt steady. I didn't need them anymore. By October, I had a routine. Work, home, study, sleep. I started planning. I bought a notebook and wrote 4 words on the first page. They think I'm gone. That's when the plan began. Not revenge, but progress. I would build something real while they stayed stuck. My goal was simple. Start a mobile welding business by spring. I found an old Ford F-250 with a strong engine. I spent my savings on it. It felt right. Ryan helped me clean it, paint it, and add racks. We made a logo. "Ethan works with metal," he said. Then came permits, insurance, and paperwork. It took weeks, but I kept going. The final step was personal. I needed my things. I texted Liam and told him I'd come by. He said they were in the basement. When I arrived, nothing had changed. The house felt smaller. Liam opened the door like nothing was different. My boxes were dusty and partly opened. I packed them carefully. My helmet, gloves, Nana's photo, my notes. No one came down. That was fine. Before I left, I took out a small envelope with my new logo and business name printed on it. A simple one-page flyer listed my mobile welding service, the launch date, the work offered, and my contact details. I slid it into the kitchen junk drawer beside spare scissors and old coupons. I let them find it on their own. A few days later, the calls began. First, my aunt rang again. "Sweetheart, I saw your business ad on Facebook. Your mom shared it. Congratulations." I paused. She shared it? She said she was proud of my motivation. Not one message to me, just a public post. A few days later, my dad texted a photo of my truck at a job site. The logo was visible. He wrote, "Looks good. Your grandfather would have liked this." There was no apology, but it was something. Then came a real opportunity. A former coworker, Raul, told me his cousin owned a construction company that needed welding for a new housing project. The pay was steady, and my name would be on the invoice. We met, agreed on the job, and that night I signed my first official contract under Ethan Works Metal. When the check cleared, I printed a copy and pinned it next to the letter my parents sent. One said forfeited, the other said paid in full. I didn't mean to get involved with the neighborhood group. I just wanted to work. But things lined up in a way I didn't expect. A woman named Beth ran the Oakview expansion project. Her husband saw my truck at a job site and passed along my number. She called and asked about custom railings and gate repairs for 20 units. This was big, steady work and public visibility. I met her with my portfolio and paperwork. She said I was the most prepared person she had met. 2 days later, I got the contract. 4 weeks into the project, I was unloading metal when I heard my name. I turned and saw my mom and Liam. They had moved into Oakview. I calmly told them I ran the metalwork for the site. Liam realized it was my company. Their faces said everything. Mom said, "Good for you, sweetie." I thanked her and went back to work. Over time, the residents liked me. I showed up early and worked clean. Calls increased. Beth asked me to speak at a board meeting. I gave a short talk about welding and community work. Later, she told me the board planned to merge management of the older units and needed a new maintenance lead. That included control over scheduling and priority. I agreed. They voted me in. Soon after, a request came in from my mom and Liam's address. A loose stair rail. I logged it but didn't rush. Other residents were handled first. They followed up. Then Liam called. I didn't answer. When Beth asked, I said I had a backlog and was helping those who supported the project from the start. She agreed. When I finally went, I did the job properly but without warmth. I handed my mom the invoice, full price. Then I mentioned a leaking faucet upstairs and left. That's when I knew they understood. I hadn't argued or demanded anything. I had simply built something they couldn't ignore. Months later, Ryan and I sat outside my own shop. I had steady work, employees, and peace. "Did you think you'd get this far?" he asked. I smiled. "No, I knew I'd move on."